Hello and welcome to Around the Wickets by ThePapare.com. As you know, this is cricket's weekly brief that takes a summarized look at what's happening in our favorite sport. Now, we talk about cricket in Sri Lanka and also in the international scene. And let's once again start our program by focusing our attention on cricket in Sri Lanka and look at the SLC. Now, we've got news that the SLC is in the Clean-up Act. We know that lots of cricketers internationally and locally have been called for throwing or with illegal bowling actions. We've seen off-spinners bowl with their sleeves rolled down or buttoned at the wrists, and also with very suspect actions. The likes of Ajmal, then Sachitra Senanayake was under the scanner, Sunil Narayan was under the scanner. So the ICC now is in the Clean-up Act. Now, Sri Lanka cricket did take a cue out of that, and we've been told that during the 2014-15 season, would you believe it, 170 bowlers in both club and first-class cricket and and school cricket was reported for having illegal bowling actions. Now, the umpires should be credited because they were responsible in identifying as much as 90% of those bowling actions. Now, where would you blame, or where would you put the blame with regards to this illegal bowling action? I will lay the blame at the feet of junior coaches. You know why? Because junior cricketers are allowed to bowl the way they want, and also coaches, they depend on their bowlers, on their batsmen to win games, because their very job is dependent on how well their team performs. So they're not worried, or they were not worried as to how bowlers bowled as long as matches were won. So 90% were detected by the umpires. 170 bowlers in school and club and first-class cricket were found to be bowling with illegal actions. And the Sri Lanka coaching department used high-quality video footage and also cameras to film these bowlers, and I can tell you that 42 bowlers were cleared. Now, that's very, very good news, no doubt, but just looking at those bowlers, and some of them at international level who were cleared, I wonder how effective they would turn out to be. Let's look at Saeed Ajmal. Now, he did come back and play against Bangladesh. Was he effective? He wasn't. He's now been left out of the Pakistan tour of Sri Lanka. Then Sunil Narayan was called again in the IPL because he found it difficult to bowl his off break. He was carted around. So you could see that bowlers will struggle to try and adjust after they have been used to a particular style of bowling. So even Sachitra Senanayake, our own Sachitra Senanayake, really lost his place in that World Cup team because Sri Lanka expected him to perform well in that World Cup. In the New Zealand tour, the New Zealand batsman got after him, and after that, sadly, Sachitra Senanayake also faded away. So big question as far as the ability of the bowlers to come back after their action was changed or after they remodel their action. But the good news is Sri Lanka cricket are in the Cleaning Act, I should say, cleaning up all the illegal bowling actions. Now, talking about school cricket, we do congratulate the Richmond Diet and the Sri Lanka under-19 captain Charit Asalanka, who was named the Schoolboy Cricketer of the Year when he was crowned at the ceremony for 2015. He was Schoolboy Cricketer of the Year and the best all-rounder of the year. Mind you, his statistics were 533 runs and 69 wickets, and that after missing a lot of the school season due to national duty. Now, the Sebastianite Avishka Fernando was named the runner-up Schoolboy Cricketer of the Year, and he was also the best batsman. Now, he was able to get 1,012 runs, and he also had 3 centuries and 5 half centuries. So that's very good news as far as Sri Lanka young cricketers are concerned. Sri Lanka need batsmen, bowlers to come through the system to try and replace the big names that are expected to fade off as cricket progresses in the year and the years to come. And also, more news and a question to you: will Sri Lanka tour Pakistan? Now, that's a big question. Now, Siddharth Vetimuni, the chairman of the interim committee, was invited by the PCB to witness the Pakistan versus Zimbabwe game. He did fly to Pakistan to watch that, and the Board of Control for Cricket in Pakistan were expecting Sri Lanka to tour them, shall we say, in September. But did you also hear about the bomb blast during the Zimbabwe versus Pakistan game? Now, thankfully, nobody was injured, no player was injured, or no spectator was injured, and the Pakistan police was quick to say that it was a gas cylinder that exploded. But we haven't really heard the true story. And the other thing is, in Pakistan, Zimbabwe only played in Lahore. Now, how practical is this going to be if a touring team comes over to Pakistan? You can't be playing in one venue. And particularly if you're playing a series of games, you've got to look at the playing square, you've got to look at the pitches, and the game could really, particularly batting, could struggle. Now, you can never have a full test tour unless you keep going into different venues. So that is going to be a challenge for the Pakistan Cricket Board, and also a challenge for teams touring. But the good news is, Zimbabwe toured Pakistan, and their tour, thankfully, was trouble-free from a cricketing point of view, and the players were also very fine and very well looked after. So that's in terms of the Zimbabwe tour of Pakistan. Now we're going to have something very special in our segment, in our weekly segment. We're going to have a chat with a very special personality. Now that personality is the former Sri Lanka women's captain and a top all-rounder. And she is Shashikala Siriwardene. Enjoy it. Shashikala, tell us something about your journey as a women's cricketer in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, it's been great so far because I've started as a national player in 2003 and have captained my team for 6.5 years. And at the moment, I'm playing for the team as a normal member. So far, I have done something to women's cricket as a player in world cricket standard. I could able to bring my team in 5th place in world rankings in 2013 World Cup. So that's the biggest achievement as a captain for me. And as a player, I have been in the first 11 in world team, and also I have achieved a few individual achievements like 100 wickets for the first time as a Sri Lankan women cricketer, and also the first Asian cricketer to have 1,000 runs and 100 wickets as an all-round. So I think overall I have done something to women's cricket in Sri Lanka.
So you've done more than something. All these achievements are outstanding. I think any cricketer will be, any man will be proud of such achievements because it's not easy. But just tell us, what does it take to become a women's cricketer?
For me, according to my experience, I think it all depends on our parents, how much they believe, how much they keep faith on us. So I am playing cricket. I could able to play cricket. I could able to start as a woman cricketer because of my parents. They pushed me that they believed you can do something in cricket. Sometimes people say that how these girls can play men's cricket. So they have changed it as my parents. They are the one who encouraged me to enter this field, and also we have to be very committed to this. It's not easy because we haven't played that much of cricket as small kids. So it takes lots of sacrifices. You have to sacrifice lots of things, lots of personal things. So I think it all depends how much you love this game and how much committed you are.
No doubt, I'm sure you must be one of those who really love this game. But from a Sri Lankan women's cricketer's point of view and from a Sri Lankan point of view, what do you think one has to do to improve the standards of women's cricket in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, the most important thing is to play more and more cricket. Because when we started our cricket, we just had 6 matches for a year. It was a huge effort by Mrs. Gwen Herath before 2006, and I must thankful to her. But after we are engaging with Sri Lanka cricket in 2006, we used to have at least 3 to 4 international tours. So it really helped us to do well and have some good matches against good countries in the world. But nowadays, there are huge chance of playing good cricket because Sri Lanka cricket do have a good structure in school cricket, in club levels. So I think now it has started in a good spirit, in good way. So I think we have to play more and more international cricket with very competitive teams like Australia, England, New Zealand. So that's the thing that we have to do as a national team. And apart from that, to beginners, they have to play a lot of cricket in domestic level to improve themselves.
Shashikala Siriwardene, thank you so much for your time and those encouraging words. We certainly hope that women's cricket will go to the next level very soon.
Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed Shashikala Siriwardene and her thoughts and what she thinks of women's cricket in Sri Lanka and her personal career. And no doubt all of us do agree that women's cricket in Sri Lanka needs a big boost if they are to compete with the very best in the international level. Now, talking about international level, let's go across to Headingley Leeds. England were brought down to earth after their win against New Zealand at Lord's. They were defeated quite comprehensively by a very good and a strong New Zealand unit by 199 runs. Now, let me ask you a question. What was the key in this New Zealand victory? What was so special about the New Zealand victory? As far as I'm concerned, I think it was winning moments and winning some critical moments. Now, let me try and take you back to one of the critical moments, in my opinion, that turned this game on its head. Now, that was when Adam Lyth was run out. Do you remember? New Zealand made 350. They struggled. The ball was moving around. 299 for 8. The tailenders got them to 350. And how much was England? After an opening stand of 170 plus, they were cruising. 215 thereabout for 1 wicket. And then Adam Lyth gets run out. And then what happens? Now, that was the moment I believe New Zealand really won this game. They grasped it, they sized it, and they made sure that England never got out of control. And England barely managed to get to that New Zealand first innings. Now, England won the toss, and they were batting fourth, and they very well knew that this Headingley pitch was going to misbehave come the fourth innings. Now, England needed a good, solid first innings lead. New Zealand never allowed it. Now, the second most critical point as far as I'm concerned was the way New Zealand set about in that second innings. Their run rate, the way they went after the England bowlers, and they also ensured that the England quicks were hit all over the place. And that was evident by the fact the way Broad and sometimes Wood and even Stokes and Anderson bowled at the tail enders. They were bowling short when they had to pitch the ball up. And the New Zealand run rate was critical. That allowed their bowlers almost 5 sessions to challenge England to get to 455. Now we know day 4, the last bit was washed off. And on day 5, New Zealand didn't really need the entire 3 sessions. They had quite a few overs remaining when England were all out for 255. So very fine performance as far as New Zealand were concerned. But the worries for England, particularly in terms of the number 3, I thought Gary Ballance looked terrible in terms of his technique, the way he got out bowled by Bolt. I'm not talking about the runs. I'm talking about a number 3 batsman getting out and getting out bowled. Now, the way Bell got out, Bell was driving outside the off stump, caught in the gully. Now that, on a luckier day, could go through the field, get a boundary, you go on and make runs. In the second innings, he clipped an off break, caught at short leg. Now that, I won't put it down to technique. That was some good fielding, bad luck, and also it could be because you're out of form, but Balance's situation was completely different. He looked all at sea. Now, if you have a chance of going back and looking at that England first innings, just look at the way Balance got out, and if you can go back and take a look at the ball before, the shot he played when he got 2 runs through the slips. He looked completely at sea, his feet together, just played at the ball, it just went through the slips. Next ball, clipped the off stump. So Balance is a worry, Bell's form is a worry, and England don't have a quality spinner. They're using Moeen Ali, who is a recognized batsman, to bat at number 8, and they're using him as an off spinner. Now, the issue here is England need Moeen the bowler than Moeen the batsman. Now, if you are to challenge Australia in the Ashes, you need a quality spinner. So England are definitely having an issue there. And another thing is, did you watch Mark Wood bowl? And were you watching his speeds? At Lords, he was bowling at 150 Ks. What happened at Headingley? He was bowling at 82, 83 kilometers or miles an hour. Now, I'm quite surprised at the way Mark Wood has dropped his speed. Is it that he was striving for some seam and swing, or was he simply jaded after playing back-to-back test matches? Anyway, good win for New Zealand, and now we will have the one-day series coming up. 5 one-day matches, new look England side under Owen Morgan, lots of young players, exciting players, and also a very fine New Zealand side. Don't forget, they were the runner-up in that last World Cup, and they looked an awesome side. So I'm looking forward to that England-New Zealand one-day series. Now, talking more about international cricket, we've heard a sad story coming from the West Indies, and that is the omission of Shivnarine Chandrapal from that West Indian lineup. Now, Chandrapal has been a stalwart, he's been a legend, he scored over 10,000 runs, he was just 80-odd runs short of the Brian Lara record, all-time record, but the West Indian selectors decided that the game and the team's requirement is bigger than an individual and bigger than a send-off and bigger than a farewell. Now, there were lots of people criticizing the West Indian selectors for not letting Chandrapal a farewell test match or a farewell series, but Clive Lloyd put it in the right perspective. He said, our intention and our focus is to win games and not to give people farewell games. Well, they had a chat with Chandrapal, and they had appreciated Chandrapal's record, but as we know, all good things have to come to an end, and there are times that you got to let go things. Talking about ending, it's time to end our show on ThePapare.com. As you know, Around the Wickets talks on cricket, domestic and also the international scene, and that's all about Around the Wickets. Now, you can follow ThePapare.com for all that's cricket, and you can also send your queries to #AroundTheWickets on Twitter and on Facebook, or email us, editor@thepapare.com.